Good morning, Paco. Good morning.
Good morning.
I know you're very busy, but welcome to those people watching in the live stream or watching this in the replay. We're talking to the man behind Carmen's Best and talking about ice cream business during this pandemic. What happened and what we can we learn and how do we move forward? All right. Thank you. And we're here talking to and thank you for All right. Good morning, Paco. Good morning.
How are
Maybe
you,
let's
Anton?
start.
Thanks for having
Yeah.
me.
Yes. Maybe we can start with an introduction for those people who are not familiar with Carmen's Best and Paco, the Paco Magsaysay.
Okay, well, we started the business in 2011, so we're about to approach our 10th year of business. Hopefully, we'll stay open. Times are very different now, it's very difficult. But we started in 2011, the ice cream business, and since then, we've been selling, all over the Philippines and even in Singapore. So, so the situation now is a little bit different, as you said. So
Uh-uh. So, Paco, to kick off our discussion, no, can you tell us the story when lockdown happened? I know Carmen's Best is one of the best ice cream in the Philippines, but um, your a lot of your business are in the airlines, in Philippine Airlines, in the restaurants, in the hotels, but all
yes,
of those are so what happened? Maybe you can share with us.
well, when the lockdown happened in middle March, we really didn't know what was going to happen and how drastic things were going to change. So it was business as usual. But then when the lockdown happened, mobility was very much restricted. We had to stop plant production of our ice cream. So, ang daming uncertain at that time, no? Only to realize na a lot of the restaurants, coffee shops, hotels, and airlines and resorts were going to have a very different situation from what we were accustomed to, meaning, they were ordering on a regular basis. So when the lockdown happened, it totally changed things. And that was a big part of our business model, was catering to food service. Luckily, we were really still more on wholesale business, or B2B ang main business namin. We just had two shops at that time, one in Alabang area and one in Rockwell area. So we were still really more a B2B business. No? Um, so yun, yung maraming changes, and you're worried about staying open, keeping as many of your good people as you can, maintaining their salaries at the same rate. Kasi may mga pamilya rin naman sila. So, yun yung mga nakakaabala sa isip pag mga sleepless nights, di ba? Like, I hope we can remain open. I hope we can
Yeah.
continue to help the people that we have in our organization, di ba? Sayang
Okay.
naman yung trabaho natin the last 9.5 years.
Oh wow. Wow.
And, naman me, I was working 7 days a week. You see me in Rockwell on Saturdays and Sundays. So I was really, putting in burning the midnight oil, as they say.
Oh,
So,
I see.
yeah, and
So
I think as most businesses, when they're starting, they really have to put a lot of time in it.
okay. So moving to the day, what happened? Isa-isa natin. Did you close the restaurants, the outlets, or are you still open?
Well, we had to close the Alabang outlet. We kept the Makati outlet open. We had to streamline our operations. I mean, talagang even adjust our targets. We have to lower our targets. You have to be realistic with the times and adjust to what's happening. We
Okay.
were lucky that our customers started looking for the ice cream after about the second month of lockdown, and they were reaching out to us through our Instagram and our Facebook page, looking to get ice cream delivered. So, maski na papaano, we are fortunate in that sense.
So did you had to, as most B2B business, had to pivot to a B2C, meaning uh, did you really consider doing an e-commerce direct to, because people are craving for it, ba? Direct to the consumers? Or did you also do yung mga community selling, had mga resellers? What do you think about those two models?
Yeah. Well, first of all, we made it a point not to sell online before because we didn't want to bump heads with our grocery clients. You know, we were selling in a lot of groceries, and we didn't want the groceries to think that we were competing with them in terms of getting business away from them. So talagang iniwasan namin yung selling direct to the consumers, to the market, no. But then when this lockdown and the pandemic happened, I mean, we were forced to really look into selling direct. And tama yung sinabi mo, nag community resellers ang naging new outlets namin. So these are community-based resellers in gated communities. So pag mag-lockdown ulit, at least available sa area nila. And yun yung talagang nakakatulong sa amin ngayon. So,
Is that ongoing ba? Are you, or is that a stopgap measure lang?
I think the way people purchase vegetables, fruits, seafood, it's changed already in the last few months. No, I mean even how you consume food is changing. You know, before when you wanted a certain type of cuisine or type of food, you went out and looked for it. Now you're able to
Mm-mm.
find it and have the experience in your own home, di ba? And
Yeah,
it may
oo,
not be
yes.
exactly the same as what you do when you go outside, you know, the excitement and the fun of it, but you're able to eat the food that you were eating before now at your home, you know. So people are changing their ways of consuming food, buying food, ordering food. So I think this is gonna be, you know, it's like what they say, the new norm. It's gonna be how it's gonna be in the
Mm.
future. Yeah.
So, you mentioned meron kang Singapore outlet. Tuloy pa rin yun or you had to close it
Yeah.
down?
You know, we opened that was opened middle December of 2019, and we have a reseller in Singapore who put up a shop in Capitol Piazza, where the Kempinski Hotel is located. And you know, the reason we're able to sell in Singapore is because we compete on quality. Kasi if my quality is equal or
Um,
lower than Häagen-Dazs and Ben and Jerry's, I won't even think of going to Singapore. Tumba
yes.
ako doon, talong-talo ako doon. But because I know that my quality is higher than theirs, on a blind test, you know,
Oo.
taste test, I always win. So
Okay.
I'm able to go to other countries and you know, Singapore being the first, I can compete direct with the other big guys.
Galing ah. So
Yeah.
tuloy-tuloy pa rin yon, the Singapore
Yeah,
operation.
they just ordered another shipment of one container of ice cream. So even
Wow.
though they had their own lockdown, they have their own problems with the economy. I think our ice cream caters to a different market. You know, we cater to an
Mm-mm.
AB market. And when you
Yeah.
say AB market, and then they're spending 400 pesos. I mean, 400 pesos is not breaking the bank. You know, it's not a lot of
Oo.
money. I mean, to
Yes.
buy something at 400 pesos, that's a premium product. It's not expensive at all. No, I
Oo.
mean it's not like you eat ice cream every day. I mean, you eat ice cream once a week or once every 2 weeks or even once a month.
Oo.
So people, the few times that they'll eat ice cream, they want to eat something that's good, not yung bitin sila. So
Oo.
yeah.
Well, during this whole pandemic, did the eating behavior change in terms of ice cream? I know a lot of people craved it during the lockdown, but when the lockdown was open or even until today, mas marami bang kumakain ng ice cream ngayon because of all the stress levels there? Or did you notice any trend on ice cream?
Well, for us, we stopped making the single serve cups because it was primarily the airlines and the coffee shops that were ordering the single serve cups for us. Since parang nawala na yung segment ng business namin, we just started selling the pints only. And we noticed that people buy a minimum order of 2 pints per transaction because they want to limit contact with people or limit, you know. delivery, they want to limit. So they'll buy 2 or 3 pints per purchase. So mas mataas ang volume na binibili. I think primarily to limit interaction with other people.
Okay. Was there any flavor na mas nag-hit during this pandemic or halos equal lang sila?
It's about the same as before, but I noticed that we have more people who are trying our ice cream. If before they were not trying it, we have more people trying it now, which is what I wanted in the first place. Because for me, we don't
Mm.
make ice cream the way others do. So it's so different that we just want people to try it. And because people are trying it, we're getting a lot of new areas. Like we just opened Zamboanga City. We have now in
Ah,
Kidapawan. We have in
oo.
Davao City. We have Cagayan de Oro. Our Cebu starting to pick up. So I think when people try it, then that's the only time they realize that it's very different. So
Oo.
they think it's like all the other ice cream. But when they try it, talagang binabalikan ng amin.
Oo. And I know you have a really good Instagram account. How's your Instagram? Do you get a lot of sale from Instagram or just inquiries and stuff?
Well, people order also through Instagram. I mean, we don't have a unified ordering system as of now. We're working with Globe Telecom for a website that will, sort of be an ordering platform for us and also accept credit card payments.
Okay.
So, but Instagram caters to a different market, the same way Facebook caters to a different market. Well, you would know that more than me. So,
Oo.
yeah. So that's I I was telling some friends I just learned how to do online banking just the past few months. So when I realized that I learned how to do it, I said more people are gonna start doing this. So
No, that's funny nga, ano.
yeah, more people are doing it now. So
So let's talk about business. Particularly your people. I think there are stories going around. Well, even if you had to lay off people, you gave them reseller to their community. So what
yeah.
was your strategy with people, with your employees? Yeah, and what happened
Well,
during this pandemic?
yung nabanggit ko nga kanina, the first month of the lockdown, which was mid March to middle April, wala kaming wala kaming production. Talagang shutdown yung plant namin, no? But we still gave our employees full salary. And I think that show of support was huge for them because I'm sure the people that they were living around, in their homes, a lot of them were no work, no pay, So I think when they saw this, it just reaffirmed our commitment to our people, to our staff, and their level of how do you say, commitment to working for us has really been exceptional. And I always say that this is a team effort, and you need, moving forward, you need everybody doing their job and doing their work well in order for you to keep on moving and growing. And we're just looking now to survive, what's happening. So we're in survival mode, and I'm glad that our people are, have that mindset, that sense of urgency in them. And yeah, it's been good naman. I think for the most part, if you look after your people, they'll also look after you.
Sorry, I'll pull up muna. Let's move forward to the bear season. But let's pull up the people. Tracy said, hello. Malor said, Carmen's best is the best, of course, is love. Sir Paco, and then Pierre Padilla is the best ice cream in the Philippines, which is true. So, I think coming into the bear season, and a lot of people are, and we're in MECQ, I don't think we'll have a lockdown anymore. What do you think will happen in the bear season? And any plans for the 10th year anniversary for Carmen's Best?
Okay, for the burr seasons, unfortunately for ice cream, it's not a very high season to sell
Ah, gano'n?
our goods. Yeah, mas kami sa summer pag mainit. So
Ah,
pag summer time, masaya yung mga ice cream companies kasi tumataas yung benta namin. Sadly, that was when
Hindi
the
ba
pandemic.
celebration ang ice cream? Hindi ba more celebratory ang ice cream?
Yeah, but people don't really bring ice cream to parties or to gatherings because it's hard to keep it frozen. So they'll bring maybe cakes, pastries, 'di ba? Hindi nga
Oo.
regalo masyado yung ice cream eh kasi minsan hindi nalalagay sa freezer or ilalagay sa ilalim ng tree. So
Mm.
natutunaw. So it's not really a gift that's given unlike cookies or pastries, or cakes. So pag palamig na, people tend to consume less ice cream kasi malamig na nga. So, mas gusto
Ah,
namin pag summer, pag mainit.
okay. And so usually what do you do during the bird season pag ice cream business ka?
Well, because we use the fresh milk from our farm, tapos tumataas naman yung production sa farm namin, that's when we make more cheese. We make fresh cheese.
Hmm.
Not they call it analog cheese that you see in the grocery. That's not even dairy. That's non-dairy cheese. But we make fresh cheese, out of the milk that we have. So
Okay. And you sell it under Carmen's Best din ba?
no,
Or
that's under Holly's milk. Have you
halis na?
tried our cheese na? Have you tried our cheese?
Hindi pa eh. Hindi ko
O,
pa
padala
na-try.
kita.
We'll try natin yung cheese. But that's an ongoing ano?
It's an ongoing thing. Yeah, yung Quezon puti namin.
Oo.
Kasi yung
Ah,
Quezon puti namin, makita mo, hindi siya nagka-crack. Kasi yung
mm.
mga Quezon puti nagka-crack, hinahaluan ng tubig yon kaya nagiging nagka-crack siya because it's low quality. Yung
Oo.
amin it does not crack because we just use pure milk. So padalang
Ah,
kita.
oo.
Gusto ng mga bata.
Yung for butter and wala nangyari doon.
We're working with butter right now. We're trying to get the quality that we want, the quality that people expect from us. So,
Okay. So you're just keeping what are your plans for Carmen's Best? Or just keeping it to survive until the vaccine comes? What's the plan? Or are you introducing, let's say, new flavors, or
we have new
what's
flavors
the
coming
ice
up.
cream strategy? Yeah.
We have new flavors coming up, but we have two new lines of ice cream that we're making. One is called JNM, and JNM stands for my two sons Jaime and Mikey. So that one is an alcohol infused ice cream. So it's alcohol infused. Kasi mga
Alam nila
lalaki, di
'yon.
ba, mga anak ko. Ha?
Oh, alam nila 'yon. Pinangalan mo sa kanila yung alcohol
Oh,
infused.
sabi ko kasi para hindi na sila magreklamo. They said, how come only Carmen got an ice cream named after her? So, sige, I'll name something after you. Yung sa inyo, yung may alak. O yan, may alak na yan.
Oo. Hanip yung alak ngayong pandemic, all-time
Yeah,
highs.
yeah. But we're just launching it now. Actually, we started selling in late December, early January. So we started selling JNM at that time. But then yun nga the pandemic hit mid March. So we're reintroducing it again now, and people like it naman. I mean, it's the same high quality as we do it in Carmen's Best.
So what's the difference? The alcohol is infused after the ice cream is made? Or paano mo
The
gina?
alcohol is infused as you're freezing it. So when you put alcohol in ice cream, the freezing point changes. It becomes different. So
Mhm.
handling of that is a little bit different because it has to be in a colder environment, colder temperature. So it
Okay.
doesn't get really super hard. So because kasi
Okay.
may alak eh.
Oo. Pero malalasing ka or hindi?
Hindi naman. I mean, one cup. I mean, like when you cook food with alcohol, whether it's fish or a mango flambe or what, it makes it more intense. The taste is deeper. It has more character. So yeah, it's pretty good. I'll send that to you too.
Pero so what happened with so what do you think will happen with the airlines, with the restaurants? Is there any indication that they're starting to come back?
Wala, they haven't really been ordering from us. I mean, the airlines we were catering to were Delta Airlines, Singapore Airlines, Qantas, and Philippine Airlines. So
Mm-mm.
lahat ng outbound Manila flights nila, kami yung ice cream sa business class. And that was quite a big segment of our business. And Now there's no flights, di ba? There's no
Oo.
flights at all. So ang laking tama sa amin. Kaya lang mas malaki ang tama sa airlines, di ba? So sa akin parang okay na ako dito. I mean, I'm losing thousands of pesos but they're losing hundreds of millions, no? So
Oo, oo,
iba yung tama sa atin. So I'll take my hit. I'll take my hit.
oo. But the restaurant, hindi rin the restaurants.
Yeah, restaurants are also having a very difficult time. I mean,
Mhm,
people don't want to go out. They're afraid, and
mhm,
and then they're even not allowed to fill up their establishment. I think they're only allowed up to 50%. No,
mm,
and when they created this business model, it was not because of a 50% occupancy. They looked at an 80 to 90% occupancy during peak time, and then not a 50% occupancy. So hirap
oo,
talaga yung mga restaurants and coffee shops. And, we're very much understanding of their situation. We are also going through a difficult time. So it's really a tough time all around.
oo. Pero I know you're one of the most creative, innovative entrepreneurs in Manila. And what needs to happen in the next few months, do you think, para we can all help together in bringing back the industry?
Sorry, I got a message and you kind of stopped for a while. Can you repeat the question? Sorry.
Yeah, so I know you're one of the most innovative and creative entrepreneurs in Manila. No,
Hmm.
what do you think that needs to happen for us to elevate the industry in the next coming months? The food industry, at least.
Well, the fact that people are working together in a way. There are all these Viber groups and Facebook groups that are coming up for restaurants, and I see a lot of restaurant owners and chefs collaborating more, sort of exchanging ideas, exchanging suppliers, and there's more of how you say cooperation in the industry. Now we cannot control what's happening to the market. We cannot control what's happening in this situation with the pandemic. So, on the side of what can be controlled, which is the cooperation and the how you say the helping of each other in the food service industry, that's already happening. So I think that's a huge step that people are helping out each other. Um, but yun nga, I mean, in a market, you need both sides to cooperate, and the situation of the pandemic is not cooperating with the business right now. So there's nothing we can do with that. A lot of them are getting into deliveries and um, takeout service. Like I was mentioning earlier, this was not initially their business model. So packaging wise, delivery wise, it was not part of how they envisioned they would serve their food. No? So I think them coming across different vendors now who are selling food or having food delivered, they're starting to see how it's done, and getting the right packaging for it, getting the right delivery system or system so people can order from them. But no, it's I mean it's not only in our country, but other countries are also having a difficult time. So there has to be, I think, more support from the government, which they're helping in their own way, but I think there has to be a little bit more support because there's such a big workforce that relies on food service that ang daming naapekto sa situation na to. Maraming walang trabaho, maraming nakat yung sweldo nila, no? So
Mm.
mahirap talaga.
Okay. I know maraming fans si Paco Magsaysay. How did you thrive or survive the pandemic? Ano ba? Did you start a new hobby, and what are the food
Uh,
na you were eating during the pandemic? Share
yeah, well,
some stories.
I think when it first hit, and you're kind of shell shocked, like what's happening. Business is changing, the environment is changing, and you're stuck in the house. And I mean, it's very easy to get a little bit depressed or to get a little bit anxious. But I think the best way to deal with it and to cope with it is to keep yourself busy, Try to keep on learning things, watch videos, read books that interest you, topics that interest you. As you mentioned earlier, I got into gardening or mini farming. I tried to learn about growing vegetables in my backyard, and trying to understand that, and also incorporating our plastic containers with the milk business, how we can reuse it, how we can recycle it, or the word is repurposing your packaging. So it's just really trying to keep busy. It's very easy to say this, but I know there are a lot of people who are going through some emotional issues and emotional instability. But you know, normally when things like this happen, um, it's 3 or 4 days of continuous difficulty. That's when you start thinking of doing something drastic. And if you're just able to pass that 3 to 4 days, things will normalize. I mean, things will get better, you know. And it's just that short 3 to 4 days that you need to survive and try to get over. And hopefully, more people than not will not do something that's, a drastic move on their part. You know.
So, ano mga kinakain mo during the ano, or did you crave anything during the pandemic, or did you learn how to cook, or what? Ano bang ano food habits mo during the time?
Well, I think because I was out so much the last what 10 years of working, I would eat most of my meals outside the house, and then you realize you're stuck in the house, and you need to eat most of your meals at home. So you start eating, you can control it more. So you're eating a little bit healthier because you don't have the same physical activity as you did when the days were normal and going to work and going around and working. So since you're not moving as much as you used to, you need to sort of adjust your food intake. Kasi mahirap kung pareho yung food intake mo tapos nabawasan yung activity mo. At my age, I'm already 52. You're gonna start getting bigger, so my metabolism is not as fast as it was before. So I think adjusting, and people are more aware of the type of food that they consume. They're healthier. They don't eat as much junk food,
Mhm.
so they try to eat natural food or healthy food. That's what I noticed with my friends and my family.
Okay. We'll pull up lang, we'll acknowledge lang si Margarita says hi. To Paco and Marga, fan of Paco.
Masarap ang ano niyan, walnut dates.
Talaga?
Yeah, they
Aba.
make the kunanan ensimada. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Si Marga. Wow, galing ah. And then Eugene said, well done, Paco. So siguro, I know you've started this also in your home kitchen. And nakita ko po yung home kitchen mo. I mean,
Yeah.
your home operation. And there are a lot of people starting now in their home kitchen. Wedding photographers turning food entrepreneurs, or
Yeah.
fashion learning. Maybe can you give us like a quick um, perspective on how should they start looking at it, because dati siguro yung game was just the food lang, pero ngayon packaging becomes important. Maybe what were the learnings over the years in building Carmen's Best that you can give an advice to those starting today on food entrepreneurship?
Well, when you start your business out of your kitchen, it's easy. I mean, the equipment you purchase are not that expensive. You're working with small volume. It's easy to find your ingredients because it's everything small volume. Um, so I think it really depends. If you understand who your market is, then that will direct you in terms of what type of packaging you should have, where you plan to sell. I think the entrepreneurs who are starting out now, they have an advantage because everybody's buying online. Everybody's buying through Viber groups. Everybody's buying through Facebook groups. So that is a huge advantage for people who are starting an online business now because the market is already on the platform. They're looking to buy online. So I think that is a huge advantage for them. But ang hirap now is more the logistics that becomes more of an issue. So if you start your business, try selling within a certain radius first, di ba? And then once you have a base of clients or a base of customers and they're buying from you regularly, then maybe you can start venturing a little bit further and exploring selling to a wider market. But take things one step at a time. Don't try to don't try to hit a home run. Just get to first base first and then get to second base. Take it one step at a time because a lot of other people are competing with you. There's so many factors that's trying to make you fail or to stop. You know, so if you take things one step at a time, then it's gonna be easier for you to grow it slowly. And once you grow your business slowly, your customers are with you for a long time. I mean, they're not these fly by night customers who will understand that you are here for the long run. You're here for the long term. You're not here to make a quick buck. You're here to be with them not only for the next couple of weeks or a few days, but you're here for the next few years. So once people understand and realize that you're a long-term player, you're here to have the commitment and the how do you say the integrity to keep your quality the way it is, then they will continue patronizing you. So that journey is quite long. It's gonna take years. So it's not a sprint. It's not a 100-yard sprint. It's not a 200-yard dash. It's not even a marathon. It's we're talking years of doing this. No? So if you have that intensity to do it, 7 days a week, um, I mean, working 12 to 16 hours a day, then you should do it. But we don't have much choices now. Employment's down. Opportunities have greatly changed. So hopefully more people will try doing something in terms of being an entrepreneur.
Mm-hmm. What do you think, Paco, on kasi there are some entrepreneurs who would start on faddish food or versus on trend na food. And I know when you create your flavors, it's always on trend. So, any advice? Okay ba maging faddish even on a short term and then figure out your longer term trajectory? Or what do you think?
Well, you could take that route. You could come up with a concept where you're working with fads, but then your market will always change, di ba? So instead of building a base and growing that base, you're constantly having a different market to target to. I think there are people who are good at that, and if you know that you're good at that and you're able to capitalize on that, then I think you should do that. But then, like, I know I am not good at that. I'm more traditional. I'm more establishing relationships and more about long term, no. So the best thing for something like this is to understand yourself and to know if that is a strength that you have, because I know that that is not my strength. So I purposely don't get to do that because I know mahina ako dyan. So try to make an assessment of what you're good at or what you like to do. Kasi talagang maglalagay ka ng maraming oras sa business mo lalo na pag startup ka eh. Talagang you'll spend a lot of time doing it.
Mm-mm. That's good. Any advice naman on pricing? And I know you've experienced during this pandemic. How should people price their product during this time? I know it may depend on the audience, pero 'di ba nag-iba rin yung pricing dynamic during this time. Any advice?
Yeah. Well, I've purchased some food that have been quite pricey in the last few months, no. And if it's not worth it, I am not buying it again. Right. So if you're gonna price your products that's not commensurate to your quality, then you have to understand that many people will buy it just one time, right? But then if it's commensurate to your quality, let's say you're selling something that's not very expensive, but you so also sell it not so expensive. And people will know that naman. I mean, they pretty much know what the cost of food is. But if it's good quality naman, but not so expensive, and you don't sell it so much, you'll get a lot of parang your market is more mass based, no, mass based. But if you're doing a product that's a little bit more on the premium side, and you charge a rate that is not naman exorbitantly high, you might have a better chance because the people that are on these Viber groups and Facebook groups are more of the A and B market. So if you notice the people buying online, the people that are doing online selling and online purchasing, it's more of an upper market. It's not really a mass market products that you will be seeing on these online Viber groups. So we're fortunate in the sense that that's the market that we cater to, and there's a likelihood of them trying our ice cream. So yun yung nangyari sa amin, parang tuloy-tuloy pa rin ang benta namin.
Mm, okay, that's
Did
good.
I answer your question?
Yes, go.
Yeah. Okay. No, I don't know if I answered your question.
Ne, okay naman. Except lang, I understand what you're saying, pero syempre, when you're starting out, di ba, ang gulo, ang dami mo
Yeah.
kailangan isipin, di ba, pricing, etc. And so, maybe some examples, are there products that impressed you na kinain mo during the pandemic? And then just to last lang, is there any products you're looking for that some people might want to start up on that?
Well, when you ask about um, products that I've tried out, um, well, it's primarily within our village. I mean, there's this lady who makes fantastic Mexican food. And I spent 12 years of my life in Texas. So I miss good Mexican food, and this lady makes fantastic Mexican food, and it's like, oh my god, I can't believe I'm eating this here in the Philippines. It's so good. And then another lady makes
What's the name? Mention the name para we can try
well,
it
she's in
out.
our village group in Alabang. So I don't know. She doesn't sell outside there. So just go to the
Sayang.
yummy, yeah, to the
Okay.
yummy group.
Oo.
There's a yummy group
Yummy
in
Kitchen,
Alabang,
yes. Yummy Kitchen,
Yummy
yes.
Kitchen, and it's. I mean, sometimes you find it's amazing that you're able to eat all these different types of food in your own home, whereas before you had to go out and look for it, diba?
Oo.
So if you talk about changing habits or changing ways of consuming food, it's happening now, diba? And people are getting used to eating, let's say, Mexican food in their house or Korean food in their house that's really homemade type of Korean food that's not commercialized. So, maski na mawala na yung pandemic, I don't think I'll be looking for Mexican food outside anymore, diba? I
Mm-mm.
won't be going to all these different Korean places that I used to try out because I have a Korean food supply here in my village that is absolutely fantastic.
Mhm.
So those are the two types of food that really stand out. And I've had a few bad experiences, which of course I don't even remember anymore, but I'm not going to buy from them anymore. So like I was saying earlier, if you price it and it's not commensurate to the quality that you deliver, then you're not going to get a lot of clients or customers. In terms of what I'm looking for, I guess, um, well, I miss going to buffets. I think I think that's gonna be, not that I do a lot of buffets, no, but sometimes when I think about it, means that I even dream about it. Like, wow, I can't enjoy a buffet for the next few years, and um, parang we took it for granted, di ba? Now it's like, wow,
Oo.
we can't go to a buffet. And yeah, it's one of those things where it's what you call the new norm, and you just have to adjust to it. But it's more really about the quality of the food that you get. I mean, you don't need a lot. You just want to have a few things, but it's as long as it's good quality.
Oo.
And I guess it's just the variety that you look for. Sometimes you look for dim sum. Sometimes you look for, like I said, Korean food, or you look for a good steak, whether it's from Albert's Steak, or whatever. So those are the things that you tend to look for on a regular basis, which now parang it's so hard to get. No?
Oo. Thank you so much, Paco, for having this morning
Sure.
discussion. And I know a lot of people will be inspired by our discussion, or at least get some hope. Any final thoughts? Wait, we'll say hi muna before your final thoughts to Cecil. And of course, Jomag. Boss.
Jojo, yeah, Jojo. We call him Jojo in our family, and he and Greg Banson. Greg Banson is my cousin on my father's side, the Banson family, and they've
Oo.
been very supportive of whenever I have questions, or very very supportive. I can't say enough about the two guys.
Galing. So, anyway, final thoughts na lang for the food entrepreneurs out there, for the consuming public, and hope, and to end this on a hopeful note.
Well, I think if you're gonna get into the food business, you have to create your own niche. Like what type of food do you want to sell or to serve? Kasi baking is very different from cooking. So you also have to understand what are you good at? Are you better at baking, or are you better at cooking? So I always say try to work to your strengths, and if you're good at something, try to harness that. Try to be even better at it. Try to get into something that you enjoy doing. I mean, if you're not into cooking, then maybe you shouldn't get into a business where you need to cook, because you'll be spending a lot of time with your new venture or your new business. So it's really more about understanding about yourself, and what you can offer. I mean, it doesn't have to be food. It could be other types of service or a product that you want to get into. But I think right now the priority number one is for us to keep healthy. Sometimes we tend to forget that we worry about our business. We worry about not being able to pay your loan, or your rent, or whatnot. But the number one thing that we need to look after is our own health, diba? I mean, I always say that if you're the captain of your ship, and if you're sick or you're down, you cannot lead your group. Kawawa naman your organization, diba? So as much as possible, you have to keep yourself safe, keep yourself COVID free, and also your mental health. You need to just try to keep busy, and try to keep on being as productive as you can, doing things that will keep your mind off thinking of crazy things. So just hang in there. We're gonna get through this. It's not gonna be forever, and I think after all of this finishes, we'll all be much more resilient to everything that will come to us in the future.
All right. Thank you so much. We'll say final hi to Sir Edmond Lee and Mr. Tom Gutwako. Again, thank you so much, Paco, for doing this. I know a lot of people will be inspired. Good morning.
Thanks for
And
having me, Anton. I like your shirt too.
yes. Thank you. Yeah,
Okay.
inspiration yan during this time.
Yes.
All right. Thank you. Thank you. Bye.
Okay.
Bye,
Take
Paco.
care. Bye bye.